Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Pitafi. Once again, we are going to talk about the things that we discussed yesterday. On one side, we have seen the iftar party of the opposition political parties. There is a lot of speculation, a lot of buzz in the media, whether it is going to lead to some entire government alliance and agitation. We are going to talk about that as well. On the other side, we see the economic ordeals faced by the government itself and the common man on the street as well. Because the inflation keeps rising, government has done Herculean efforts to bring it under control. We have seen the new monetary policy and the hiking of the rates to contain it. But despite that, this is the month of Ramzan, and in Ramzan, usually prices shoot up. And even now, there are many who think that inflation is uncontrollable. What exactly is going to happen in coming days? Is it going to lead to some kind of agitation, or this is merely a revolution in a teacup? We are going to talk about this and more. In order to help us understand these issues, we are joined by a very eminent panel. We are joined by Mohammad Ibrahim Khan Sahab, MNA of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, the ruling party. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Naseem Siddiqui Sahab, who is a senior analyst, a journalist. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. And next to him is Zahim Khan. I read columns, but I don't read all of them. There are certain columnists which are my favorite. Zahim Khan Sahab is one of them, a senior analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. While I was quickly scribbling, your job description is written as Senior Khan. I don't know what does that mean, but regardless, thank you very much for being part of the program. Ibrahim Khan Sahab, I have to start with you, sir.
Sure.
How do you see this iftar party, and what do you think is going to happen in coming days? Is the opposition going to come on streets and agitate against you, sir?
Sir, agitations do start with the leadership and the support of the people.
Sir.
Here, I don't see a leadership.
Okay.
I don't see a support of the people in this particular respect because they are already exposed and people know what they are all about. And what this iftar party, iftar means end of Roza. So this is end of it, and the iftar was it and done with it.
Okay.
I don't think they have the capacity or the capability or the power of the people behind them, because what are they going to sell to the people?
Okay.
That we mounted 24 trillion on you in the last 10 years.
Okay.
And what are they going to sell to the people?
No,
That we were accusing each other of being a son of Ziaul Haq, and the other one saying they're so and so, and on and on and on, and blame game. And
Yeah,
I mean, they're trying to play this soap opera. I mean, you know.
Ibrahim
and,
Khan Sahab, with due respect, since they are not represented here,
Sure.
many of them will say that anybody can be accused of anything, right? And while you're talking about adding more burden to the debt, national debt, they'll say, just for the sake of argument, remember my
Sure.
job is to act as a contrarian. I have to oppose what you're saying.
Of course.
But they'll say that your intentions might be good, but you're adding to the debt as well.
Well, the other day I was on a program, and the gentleman said we did not like them and we gave you the driving seat. I said, certainly you did. And he was also added on to this, too much price hike and different edible things and on and on and on. The economic conditions weren't good. I said, everything else you said, I agree with you. But when you say you gave us the driving seat, this driving seat didn't have, the car didn't have the tires and didn't have the engine in it. Okay, and now we're striving and struggling to bring those tires together so that we can put it to make it even to push it to roll, and then we will arrange the engine to make it work.
This is a good argument, but I want to just bring it on record that usually when things are difficult for the common man, it is the moment when opposition finds it quite useful to exploit this sentiment. Let me bring in Naseem Siddiqui Sahab. Your takes on the iftar party and the political parties.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Farooq. I think it's the frustration of opposition because they are getting nothing at the moment. PTI,
What do you mean by getting nothing?
like they have to face NAP cases at the moment, and Nawaz Sharif is gone back to jail.
They're not getting
again.
an NRO.
NRO, that's why. So you can see that Zardari Sahib is going to the court regularly. So People's Party has to shout at the government at the time, and Mariam has come back to the politics because of this one. Because the NRO, which I know, my sources tell that in the NRO it was said that Mariam will leave the country as well.
Okay.
But the family is not
There
agree.
was an NRO.
The things were being discussed.
Okay.
In that one, it was said that if Mariam leaves the country as well, then there could be some chance of NRO. But the family or Mian Nawaz Sharif is not ready that Mariam will leave the country.
Okay.
He will stay here.
Okay.
That's why he has
Why?
decided.
Why?
Because they don't want to be out of the politics.
Okay.
So they want to be in. So that's why
So
they've
they
decided.
see Mariam's appeal somewhere?
Yeah.
That she has a mass appeal?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it what you are saying?
You can say
Sam,
that Nawaz Sharif has got good when he is out for anything, the masses come after him. And the same is for the Mariam as well.
So this can lead to any kind of street agitation, sir?
Not really, because they cannot go for the street agitation because they don't have any agenda at the moment. For what they will ask the people to come out to save their
Government?
save
Price
their
hike?
father. No, but people know that. People know that the corruption has been done.
Okay.
Our judiciary is a little bit slow.
Okay.
The decisions has not been made yet. But from social media and from other things, people know that both parties have done a lot of corruption.
Right.
That's why they are facing at the moment.
So I'm glad that both of you have spoken because I'm going to go for the counterpoint. So your take on the Iftar parties, Iftar party and this opposition's getting together. Was it merely a ritual, some kind of event, or something is brewing there?
I think something in between.
Okay.
And in my opinion, our anchors, I'm not, you see, including you. in that
You
class,
can include me anywhere.
they're getting more dramatic than the opposition itself.
Okay.
At one level, you see, opposition are a set of parties that sit on one side of the aisle. They're supposed to meet regularly. They're supposed to have such iftars, have such parties, and meet each other.
Okay.
Of course, I mean, because they are the opposition, they have one leader. But what makes this gathering
Incidentally,
so unique?
sorry to cut you, but where is that leader?
Leader of the opposition.
Where is
They
he
have a
now?
leader. Wherever he is, they
Not
are
in the
one
country
group.
somehow.
No, ritually, they are one group. They are a set of parties who have one leader who sit under, you see, on one side of the aisle. So it is, I mean, what has gone different, what has become different in Pakistani politics is the attitude of the PTI in the last 5 years, when it refused to sit with other parties of the opposition
Yeah.
and claimed that all parties except PTI were corrupt and it was not ready to sit with them. Otherwise, if you look at the history of Pakistan, opposition parties have always, you see, acted together, and all over the world, opposition parties, they act together.
Yeah.
So far, opposition parties, they haven't announced anything dramatic. They haven't announced any.
I would have actually totally bought this idea, but there's something which is complicating the matter. For example, after staying silent for quite some time, Mariam Nawaz Sharif all of a sudden has started speaking again, and she's very critical of the government. So people are thinking that maybe it is a gear shift in the opposition side. You don't think?
There are three factors because of which we are reading something into this situation. So situation that People's Party is in, situation that Pakistan Muslim League is in,
Right.
and the situation of Pakistan's economy and the difficulties that Pakistani people are facing at the moment. It's not a normal environment, it's an unusual environment in which the government, the ruling party, is dealing with the opposition like a bunch of enemies, like a bunch of criminals, not as colleagues, not as opposition, not as adversaries, but as enemies.
Okay.
So, situation has been, the whole atmosphere has been vitiated. It is a vitiated political atmosphere in which opposition parties don't enjoy the political space that in a normal democracy, elected
Before I go
parties
to
enjoy.
Ibrahim Saab, the political space, is it about Asif Ali Zardari not being prosecuted or Mian Nawaz Sharif not staying behind the bars? Because it seems that both the parties are actually being fueled by this sentiment, nothing else. I mean, in the parliament, when there was agitation in the parliament regarding Public Accounts Committee chairman's role, it was about one man, one family, nothing else.
Well, we don't know. One person dominate political parties and all parties.
Yeah, I agree.
But look, I mean, at Tehreek-e-Insaf, it's all about Imran Khan. That's unfortunate. Do we have institutions? Not even a single party is an institution which has internal democracy and that works and acts like an institution. It's true for all the political parties. That's very unfortunate.
Right.
So, it is an unusual, unhappy, unfortunate environment for political parties.
Yeah.
We can talk about, of course, the accountability that is
Right.
going on, but
Allow me to go back to Ibrahim Khan Sahab. Sir, this is being said that your party is complicating matters for itself by treating opposition as a bunch of thieves or criminals.
Sir, I don't think this is a misconceived idea.
Okay.
We are only treating those as thieves who have proven to be the thieves. Or
Like
who have
whom?
proven, like the two families.
One family
Okay.
has been proven, the other is still being tried.
Sir, the other was proven. Look, the $60 million they took away from the Swiss bank. They sacrificed their prime minister,
Yeah.
who I incidentally happened to defeat in these elections.
Yeah.
They sacrificed him, but they saved their $60 million and made it time barred. So
No,
things
but
could.
is it not
things
true
are-
that
you see, there are
today
some
Asif Ali
ethics,
Zardari
okay?
said something very interesting. Presumption of innocence, that you are supposed innocent until proven guilty. And while these accusations are accusations, they haven't been proven in a court of law.
Sir, I absolutely agree with you that they have not been proven in the court of law, but in practically, you and I both know, I go and punch someone's face, okay? And since there was no witness there,
Okay.
so that does not mean that I punched him. No, the mark is there. Okay, now anybody else can say, oh, I wasn't the one who punched him, there was someone else. Now, these are all tactics and the games they're trying to play. And secondly, do they have the moral authority to come on I mean, they tried it in Sindh. Look at that train march.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, in the evening, those poor women were yelling and screaming on the TVs, saying that they were, offered 2,000 per day, and they were only given 200 rupees per person.
Okay.
I mean, this is the level they have gone low to, that they even have to rent people.
No, but
to come
rent a
into
crowd is an accusation that has been in Pakistan for quite some time. It has been very effectively used by PMLN against People's Party against PMLN, and both of them against your party as well.
Sir, I know, this is exactly what I am saying, that they have minted so much money and they have so much of resources that they can gather people because of the poverty-stricken country of Pakistan.
Right.
They're those poor people, I mean, who can hardly earn 500, 600 rupees by working all day long, and if they're offered 1,000 or 2,000 rupees to just go and enjoy and have a biryani. And I think they prefer doing that, but let me tell you, I mean,
So political
accept-
space is not being vitiated. Is
Sir,
it what you're saying?
No, this is not. I mean, another point that he raised was that we are not leaving any political space for them. It's not true. We are ready to sit with all the members of the opposition, except those who have really looted my country or our country. I don't find, I'm not a claimer that I am the only patriot left in Pakistan or the PTI is the only patriot. Trust me.
PTI patriot?
Yes.
No, I heard something wrong.
Okay, I'm
No,
talking
remember
from
People's Party
patriotism point of
patriot.
view. No, I'm talking from the patriotism point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, people, N-League and people in the People's Party are equally patriot. And they have patriotic feelings and emotions, and they truly love this country.
Is there-
so we are not singling out these people. We
Is there
are
a
only talking
possibility
about
of
those
PTI?
families who have.
Is there a possibility of PTI actually in one go naming everybody they think are patriotic? So at least then we can expect that there will be some debate between those and your party, right? Otherwise, anybody who
This
comes
is-
to you,
no,
talk
sir.
to you.
What I do is whenever I'm in the session, I go and I talk to these people. I talk to the people from the People's Party. I go and I talk to the people from N League, and I tell them one thing.
Okay.
We should have a one-point agenda, and that should be a betterment of Pakistan.
Right.
And not, you see, so far what we have done, and I include ourselves in this thing. In 8 months, two families' interests were being protected. At the same time, we were trying to expose them.
Right.
And we lost those 8 months on that. I says, enough is enough. Let's join hands. Let's sit together and think for the betterment of
Stop
the 22 crore
protecting
people.
people who might be corrupt, right? This is
Sir,
the point.
no. Look for the betterment of the people of Pakistan.
Right. I have to
Who
go to
deserve it the
Siddiqui
most.
Sahab as well.
I'll take the example of Ibrahim Saab a little bit forward. Like if you see somebody punching to someone, yeah, you are the eyewitness. You have seen, but he will say that that court hasn't proven yet that I'm the guilty. But you have seen that one. So we have seen.
Should I go for lynch law then?
We have seen that.
Hang people on streets without going to the
No,
court
no,
of law?
not like that. We should wait. But you have seen that there are fake accounts.
Yeah.
From the same fake accounts, the ticket money for Ayan Ali and for Bilawal has been paid. So there are proofs, and people know that they have made these fake accounts, and they have involved in this money laundering and all of these things.
Legal
For like
take its course.
yeah, but as we are talking about the Iftari, it was a second phase of Misake Jamhuriyat. I was the eyewitness for the first Misake Jamhuriyat, which was happening in London.
Rahman Malik's home.
Rahman Malik's home, exactly.
Yeah.
So after what happened when they came into power, Zardari Sahab said that it's not a Quran or Hadith, so I don't believe on this document.
Well,
yeah?
he didn't talk about Misake Jamhuriyat. He was talking about agreement in Murray.
Yeah,
that was
but
in
it-
Bourbon.
that's
That
what I'm
was
saying.
about restoring
That's
the
what I'm
judges.
saying.
Yeah.
They decided in Misake Jamhuriyat that they will go together. But on that matter, he said it's not Quran or Hadith. Then Mia Nawaz Sharif went to the court in Memo case wearing a black coat against
As a
People's
lawyer,
Party.
yeah.
So when they have their interests, then they get together like Iftar parties and they start saying these old things. But when they will come into power, they won't be in the same position like
Yeah, but is it too much to ask to actually have presumption of innocence till they are proven guilty? Of course, they are being prosecuted, right? They are facing the law. Till that time, they are not actually sent behind the bars or allowed to, given reprieve. Is it possible, since they are in the parliament, to treat them as people who are not guilty?
No, but Imran Khan has been telling people of Pakistan when he was on container during the Dharna period about the corruption of both the parties. And I think he is not that hypocritic man, as I have seen, that he is not going to compromise with them. In the previous times, we have seen that people compromise on different things. He was not happy for the PSC position for Shehbaz Sharif even,
Yeah.
he told, yeah. So he is not going to sit.
No, but Siddiqui Sahab, I get that. Nobody is saying that there should be some NRO or some kind of concession or compromise. What is being said is, by actually narrating it publicly, repeatedly, before it has been proven or decided by the court, the PTI keeps on creating problems for itself because it's a hung parliament. There are so many things that could have been done had there been less aggression from the government side. Till courts decide, once they do, Imran Khan Saab's point is proven, if they are found guilty, and then he can, of course, go and tell them that, look, my point has been proved.
You know that a senior anchor person told in previous days that both Mia family and Zardari family people, they are getting in connection with Imran Khan for NRO. So there is something fishy over there. But in the assembly, as Ibrahim said, that these two families, they have taken over. They just want NRO for these families, and no other assembly business is being run, or they don't allow. You have seen that they are tearing the bills and creating problem all the time.
Right.
So both parties, they are not cooperating with the government.
So the
as well.
government is not to blame.
Not
Okay.
at the moment. Yeah.
Right, Zahum Hanzab, I saw you taking notes, and you want. I'm sure you want to respond to what was said earlier, but I'm going to flip the question. Is it only the ruling party that should be blamed for vitiating the political culture, or some blame lies at the door of the opposition parties as well, who incidentally, even before election, kept on spreading this impression that elections are being stolen. After that election, they tried to come together, but then Zardari Saab, thinking that there might be some kind of reprieve in cases against him, backtracked, and they didn't have an alliance. And today, once again, the campaign continues against not only the political party which is ruling, but the state institutions as well.
It's the whole ruling elite.
Okay.
All the political parties.
People's Party included,
of course
PMLN
included,
also.
Of course, all of them included.
Okay.
Look at this unfortunate country. I mean, after 7 decades, we still don't have the rules of the game. The
Right.
political parties don't agree on the rules of game to play with. The kind of language they use against each other. You see, the kind of politics they use to undermine each other. The way opposition, every opposition undermines the government, and the way every ruling party tries to establish a one-party hegemony in this country. This is the ruling elite. And it is not about the corruption of 1, 2 or 3%. It is about the corruption of the whole classes. The nexus between capital and the state. You know, there are certain industries that people made only because they were close to the government. And these are the very people who are funding all the 3 major political parties.
Okay.
Those crony capitalists. It is very unfortunate. Now, see,
But when NAB actually cracks down on them, those crony capitalists, even then, our media, a substantial media, part of the media which is in their hands, actually starts creating this fuss that somehow country's economy is being hurt.
well, I mean, accountability has been under question. Accountability has been problematic in Pakistan from 1958. It is a problematic area. But again, my question is again different. Isn't Pakistan a democracy? Don't we have 3 different pillars of state?
We do.
Don't we have a judiciary? Now, NAB, isn't it separate from the executive? Isn't judiciary separate from the executive? What makes Prime Minister of Pakistan think that he is head of the judiciary and he is head of the accountability process? What makes PTI, the ruling party, think that they are the people who are supposed to run the accountability process and they're holier than everybody else?
Look, I get what you're saying, and I see the statements attributed to Prime Minister coming from him. But I see equal kind of statements coming from the opposition that is actually accusing, as if everything is united and everything is united against them, right? This accusation, of course, if I'm a politician and I consider myself who is above board, who is not corrupt, who has been honest, and frankly, we tried in 5 years during PMLN's time that some corruption is found. Everybody who was working for the state at that time, or some people at least, were trying to find it. Nothing was found against Imran Khan, right? Nothing serious compared to what we are seeing in Panama, for that matter, or for that matter, the money laundering case. So if it is your USP, unique selling proposition, why are you not going to sell it?
Is it Imran Khan, the one person ruling party, the one person running the executive, one person the whole party? It's not like that.
Right.
You see, government is not run by a single
Yeah,
person.
but he's selling
you see, he has
his
a,
point of view.
Look, he has ministers, he has a party, he has classes supporting them. Are they clean? Are they above board?
Okay.
Are there no cases against them?
But you are
Look, I mean,
not
it's the
going to
same
judge
I'm
this.
saying.
You are not going to judge this statement or this position by the opposition that everything is fixed and fixed against them.
I don't know what is fixed, what is not. I can only comment on the system and the problems that
Right.
this country is facing. I don't subscribe to, you see, those kind of
Conspiracy theories?
Conspiracy theories,
Come,
because
come.
I have no information about that. But one thing is very simple. We have not been able to make rules that end this problem. You see, there are cases there are cases of accountability they have been running for decades without reaching a logical conclusion. To me, it's not just about catching the thief. It is about going after the theft. And theft can be ended only by bringing reforms,
Right.
by changing the system, by reforming the public finance management system.
Okay.
Is PTI going towards that?
I'm going to ask exactly that. Are you actually, when are you going to bring in the reforms
This
that
is
were
what
needed?
my stance was. This is what exactly I was saying, that we, all three of us, are not blaming only to the other parties, but PTI too, that we spent 8 months. We trying to expose them and they're trying to defend them.
So,
And those 8 months were gone, one thing. Secondly, he has, honorable participant,
Zagam Khan Sahib.
Zagam Khan Sahib has said that Imran Khan is trying to play the Chief Justice, he's trying to play the Chairman NAB, and no, sir, this is not true. When he says that we will not let the corrupt people get away with it, does not mean that he is pointing to a single person. It could be, for that matter, Ibrahim Khan.
Okay.
If I have committed some kind of corruption or some crime, then I'll be taken to task. This is in a general term that he uses, but then it is
I have to actually paraphrase Zagam Khan Sahib.
that is made a person specific, which is not, and then concluded to a point that we are trying to dictate everything. No, this is not true.
no, let me paraphrase him for your
Sure,
convenience.
Sure.
What he is saying is that when you say that I'm not going to let anybody go, any corrupt person go, you are implying that you have the powers to stop them, right? And the problem is that NAB and the honorable courts are independent, as you say.
Absolutely.
So why would the Prime Minister give this impression that he has the powers to stop that?
What we are saying is where we can take it. Where we can take it is take it to the court, take it to the NAB.
Okay.
This is where our part ends. When we say, when Prime Minister Imran Khan says that, okay, we're not going to spare anybody, means we will make cases against them and take it to the court, take it to the NAB. And expose them there. And from there, their job starts. They are independent, judiciary is
Okay,
independent, NAB is independent.
file references,
Right.
FIA is going to
Okay,
actually
yes,
take up the...
all we
Although
did
he
so
is the
far.
chief executive,
Sir,
he is the chief
exactly.
executive.
Just another thing I want to bring it to your notice is,
So.
so far, the only money laundering case in which Zardari Saab has been implicated or he is being called upon in the, this is the only reference that we have sent or we have initiated.
Right.
Otherwise, all the remaining references were from within those parties they initiated against each other.
Okay.
We had nothing to do with it.
This reference was also initiated while elections were going on. So technically,
Which one?
mega corruption case, it started because of a suo moto of the previous Chief Justice of Pakistan.
Sure.
The fake accounts one.
In June, July, right?
The fake account.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it was aroused by the then Interior Minister Chaudhry Nisar
Yeah.
in 2016.
Yeah.
So they were initiated, but
No,
for
he's
somehow it
talking
was-
about them starting that case.
No,
Actually, it
I'm
was
not-
somebody
I'm
else
saying
who
that
started it.
we are concluding it, like with the evidence is now being brought to the surface, is that this is where these accounts came from and this is who they are and who they belong to, and this is what we are trying to play our part or contribute our
And
input into the...
when are you going to bring the agenda of reform to the floor of the parliament?
Sir, I would again say Zagam Khan was 100% right on one point, and that is until we bring reforms. Sir, structural reforms are inevitable. We have to bring structural reforms, otherwise...
Absolutely. 3-4 weeks ago, when you came to this program, you said that within weeks, we are going to table bills to reform the
We
system.
sure did. I says the
Well, let's-
legislative bills, we will be tabling legislation bills,
Yeah.
which we did. Like in that one single session, there were 7 different bills which were tabled. Like
We spoke about police reform. We spoke about legal reforms.
so, those
No,
are
no.
coming in. Those are coming in. We at that time we used the ones for the women's rights and the girls' right,
Which was-
inheritance rights.
Which
and-
was opposed by your own lawmakers. in the parliament.
Yeah, that's their
This
right.
is a democracy. Everybody has the right.
Not even lawmaker, you're sitting minister.
That shows the democratic
This is the
approach of that
democracy,
party,
but
that you can
we
oppose.
have-
But too
we
much of
haven't-
democracy in certain aspects might actually
Can you
undercut
think-
democracy.
Can you think that in People's Party or PMLN somebody can deny like this in
It
parliament?
used to happen. Whenever it was an issue of religion, somebody would stand up. Remember when Hakimullah Masood was killed, the interior minister of that time was almost sobbing on the floor of the house.
Yeah,
So the right wing, left wing divide is everywhere.
Yeah.
And it is not about democracy. It is about people who want to progress and people who would actually withhold the entire system. You want to
Yeah, but I
add
just
something?
wanted to add to this that with that women's, I mean not women's right, like daughters and sisters' rights,
Yeah.
which were not given to particularly in certain parts of Pakistan, those were not guaranteed. And now under this law, it will be implemented and enforced by law that they are supposed to. You see, I mean, in certain cases, I mean, in parts of Sindh, they would marry a girl to Nauzubillah, Quran Pak.
Yeah.
I mean, does it make any sense?
Not only since southern Punjab as well.
I haven't heard an incident there, but if it is there, if it is anywhere in Pakistan.
If not Quran, then a tree.
No, sir.
This
I'm
happens.
sorry.
I mean,
I'm
this has
sorry,
happened.
no.
I know it.
I don't. Maybe you have witnessed one.
No, I've read about it.
didn't
I've
really.
known people who have done it.
I think that is nobody can be married to a tree, but
Yeah.
Quran is like to bring them under a religious pressure and somehow to like get rid of her and spend her life without getting married or whatever.
Right.
But what all I'm saying is like yes, reforms are necessary. They have to be made, and structural reforms and judicial reforms, and I mean, you need reforms in every single institution, every single department of the
Absolutely.
governance.
And
in
I'm
Pakistan.
sure we will get there, but it will be really appreciated if the government can speed the process up. Because we have seen in 8 months that somehow the media is so locked and loaded that it finds excuse. Honestly, this kind of debate that we are having after 8-9 months of your government, we used to have after 3 years of the previous governments. But somehow media has created an environment of uncertainty, or maybe your government has, or maybe opposition has, that people are judging you as if you were 3 years old, a government, right? Now you have to talk about media's role as well. Why is media single-handedly not looking at the constructive side of the entire debate?
I think media is showing both sides of the picture at the moment.
Okay.
So media
Glass half full as well?
yeah, media is playing its role, but these parties should play their role as well. As both of my colleagues
Do
were
you
saying,
honestly think media was judicious in its treatment of IMF negotiations and deal?
media is showing whatever is happening. There is
He's
somewhere,
shaking his head.
somewhere there is hype created as well, because you know in media there are
So are we going to all defend our domains and think that
No, no,
everything is
you know,
hunky-dory in the
no,
country?
It is not hunky-dory at all.
nowadays.
It really isn't a hunky-dory, and I tell you what, we really need to take it very seriously, and I have talked
Take what seriously?
the economic conditions.
Not the media?
worsening economic conditions. The media part, I mean, yes, when you will cut down on their advertisements, obviously they'll speak against you.
Okay.
And this is what's happening. It's
The-
it's not really
About
for the
principles.
principles.
You can see
It's
the
for
journalists, they're
self-benefit.
working
So
day
money
and
is the
night.
principle?
Money
sitting
has
in
been
the-
made the
but
principle,
the
unfortunately.
journalists, they're working day and night. They are not getting their salaries
Okay.
for months. Most of the journalists,
Is the government supposed to pay them?
no, not supposed to pay them. But when this government came into power, after that, too many journalists, they have to lose their jobs. Their salaries are not paid properly. So definitely media
And-
will
and
blame
government is
the government at the
responsible for
moment.
that?
Definitely, whoever is in the
Not-
government,
not the
that will
business
be
model,
blamed.
sir.
Business model as well. But it came after the power of this government. The same model was in previous governments as well. So they have to change. They have to bring some change. Whatever they have made some promises in their election speech, they have to deliver. Otherwise, masses, they are in the problem. You can see
So the government in power has to actually offer some handouts to the business owners and the media.
Definitely,
Otherwise, everything is broken in the country.
Everything is broken. You can see the inflation is going high. So who is
And once you actually issue those handouts, give them the handouts, then everything is hunky
no,
dory.
it's their responsibility basically to provide bread and butter to the people
the media
to
owners.
the people of Pakistan. No, not for the media owners. They have already got too much.
Acha.
But
I mean,
the journalists. Let's come back to the actual question.
No. You have to actually, I have to go in on that. If somebody is rich and they are making profit, if they are depriving their own workers the kind of salaries they promised, is it their fault or the government's?
It's their fault. But if it's happening,
Then why are we
if-
allowing them to get away with the blackmail?
No, we are not.
You are saying that
The
if you
journalists are
provide them the money.
Journalists are saying to the government that whenever you are going to give them the money for their advertisements, ask them that you have to pay the salaries and you are not going to cut down the staff from your offices. So we are just relating it with them, not asking that government is going to give us the money or they are blamed for that one.
Right. Let me actually try to spin it and take it to Zahir Khan Sahab. Zahir Khan Sahab, it has too corrupt a system. And if a government wants to reform it, it will have to play by the rules, be part of it, and then try doing it. Otherwise, it is going to burn itself out, if not in next 8 months, perhaps 2 years. Is it the right kind of impression that I'm getting?
Look, I mean, we're talking about reforms, right?
Yeah. And
I mean,
corruption and getting...
right. Look, there are two things that, to my mind, are very important in the area of reform. One, reforms are always front-loaded. You have to undertake reforms at the earlier part of your government,
Okay.
when you're
Front-loaded,
still in the
okay.
honeymoon government.
9 months is okay.
I think government has already lost a very precious, very important period. Now it is out of the honeymoon period, and reforms are getting more and more difficult. And they are getting difficult. Government lost this period because it was unprepared. PTI, as a party that was waiting for government, you see, which was a government in waiting, did not prepare itself for reforms. It did not carry out any policy work. It did not prepare any policy papers. It came totally unprepared. And as a result of its unpreparedness and its ineptness based on that unpreparedness, we are all suffering. This whole nation is suffering because of the unpreparedness and ineptness. And that has resulted...
But when you say ineptness or aptness for that matter, what are you comparing them to? Are you comparing them with the, since you are talking about economic matters essentially, that is the impression I'm getting. Are you comparing it with Ishaq Dar Sahab? Because Ishaq Dar Sahab's economics is now called Darnomics. It was even called Darnomics during his time, and you were the critic, right? You used to actually take it apart. And now it might have created the current economic problems that we are facing. Should we only accuse the current government, or the fact is that there's too much corruption in the system, and if you don't grease some palms, if you don't start giving handouts, then maybe you cannot even move.
Look, I mean, we don't get anywhere by comparing this government with the past government. Let's judge them by their own agenda. If somebody says, I want to run a marathon, you'll have to look at his performance and see if he is able to run even half a kilometer. If somebody is say, I'm going to be a super marathoner and I'm going
Prime
to
Minister
win,
can run.
I'm going to
I
win.
mean, compare him with anybody.
Well, Prime Minister as head,
He's physically
yes,
fit.
as head of a ruling party. So they have an agenda. They had an agenda of reforms. They were unprepared for those reforms. They went on a marathon without preparing themselves, without building muscles. And they should have built muscles through preparing themselves. And second thing is, reform requires consensus building, particularly for a party that is essentially a minority party. They did not have, absolute majority, let
It's
alone
a parliament.
two-thirds, which is unable on its own even to legislate simple laws, undertake simple legislation. And there are reforms that require constitutional amendments. So in this environment, it required consensus building. It should have left accountability to accountability institutions, built the bridges, worked with all political parties.
And here's the problem.
Focusing, look,
If
focusing.
I am a political party that is led by one man and was essentially, PTI has never called Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Imran, right? But there is a political party that is named after one gentleman who is sitting behind the bars. If the entire party that has a lion's share of representation in the parliament is not going to play ball because its leader is not being given the kind of concessions they need, how are you going to?
That, you see, look, that's your and my guess.
Yeah.
Did they say so? No. I mean, at the start of the parliamentary process, they extended their cooperation to the government.
And then
It is.
Then
look,
they
it
stopped
is.
legislation or any kind of
It is.
cooperation in the standing
It
committee
is.
business
No.
by demanding that Shehbaz Sharif become
That was
the head of
that
PS.
was by tradition. That was the right of the opposition, and also
This tradition
No,
has
but it's-
existed only 10 years ago.
10 years is a long time. 10 years is a long time. And just look at the parliamentary process, what these committees do. Their job is oversight of the executive.
Yeah, but you
now,
can-
look, ruling party is the executive. And job of the committee is to undertake oversight of the executive. In my opinion, all committees should be with the opposition, because how can executive undertake oversight of the executive?
Yeah, but
and tradition.
the previous information minister actually went to Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and asked him if he will be interested to become the head of PAC. The problem right now is that since the backlog is there, the current government is auditing the previous government, not the current one, right? And in that situation, Shehbaz Sharif becomes the auditor or at least supervisor of auditing his own government.
No, he's no.
In Punjab?
He is no auditor. You see, if
No,
we,
not an
if we
auditor.
understand the work of this committee,
Yeah.
chairman has very limited authority.
Subpoena powers?
No, it has very limited authorities. An honorable MNA is here. He can tell it that the committee, all members of committee are equal. Chairman is one amongst equals,
Right.
and
but
it
you
is
realize the first job that he did
And,
was to call NAB.
well. I
And
mean,
he's being
He can
probed by the
derail-
NAB.
He can derail the system. After all, he is the chairman.
I mean, then you throw opposition out of the parliament and
Nobody
set
is
up a
saying that.
dictatorship.
Nobody is saying
well,
that.
then you do that.
You have to understand the kind of gridlock we are in. I understand that the government might be irrational
Then-
as well.
then why did-
But opposition is also being
Well,
irrational.
if it was such a sin, why did the government, why did the PTI agree to it? They agreed to it. They should have agreed it earlier.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's going to the IMF.
We
They should
tried
have
to
gone there
resist it.
earlier.
Okay,
We said
okay.
we tried to resist it for 8 good months.
And you,
And
if
finally
somebody,
had to give in when they, I mean,
if somebody
because of our
advised
hung
you,
Parliament,
somebody advised you to actually resist going to IMF, you should actually see to it that that person is sacked. Because in the end, you had to go there and it complicated problems for you. Sir, I'm told that we have run short of time. I wish this discussion, which is really energizing me, could go on for long. But we are limited by the time allotted. Thank you very much, sir, for
My
being
pleasure,
part
sir.
of the program. And Naseem Siddiqui sir, thank you very much, sir, for being here as well. Zaham Khan sir, thank you very much for being part of the program as well. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. The matter of economics are important, and I wish we media persons could actually do more justice to that without creating the kind of scandals we try to create based on our own impulses. But right now, when you look at the agitation, possibility of agitation of the opposition, I will not actually rule out anything, because political parties are geared by the atmospherics, and there's so much going on in this country and in this region that anything is possible. Let us leave it at that. In coming days, we will try to do justice more to this discussion. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.